How many times have you really wanted to do something? You've wanted to create a piece of artwork, start a YouTube channel, try a new hobby, and the fear of being perceived as cringe has stopped you from doing it. Maybe you have a business idea that you really want to bring to life, but you're so worried about whether people will look at you promoting yourself and promoting your work, or trying something out of your comfort zone and cringing at you. I have experienced this, as I know many of us have, and I've really been unpacking what cringe means and why we let it control our lives so much. Cringe has become one of these words that's almost like the worst thing you could be called. You could be called, uncool, embarrassing, whatever, but cringe seems to be the thing that is like a permanent X on your name and something we all seem to be in such fear of. When in reality, I believe sometimes our most fulfilled selves can be often our most cringy selves in the eyes of certain other people. This whole thought process started occurring for me when I went and saw the Wicked movie. I am a musical theatre lover. I am obsessed with Wicked, and when this movie was announced, I was so excited. I was dressed in pink, I was ready, and it was a magical experience. I loved the movie. It was just perfect. And I walked out of that theatre with just this sense of awe and wonder, and I just kept saying to my partner who came to see it with me, I can't believe how amazing that was. I cannot explain how I feel right now, because it was just, oh my God, it was just so good. And then people behind us were walking out of the same theater, they'd just seen the same movie, and they were saying, oh my God, can you believe how cringy that was? And I remember thinking, wow, if a multi-million-dollar budget movie based on a multi-million-dollar longest running musical in the history of anything, if this piece of art can be perceived as cringe, what hope do any of us have? Now, I'm not saying that people can't look at it and think, oh, it wasn't very good, or I didn't like it, wasn't for me. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the idea of cringe. This was not the only time that I heard someone refer to this movie as cringe. And every time I heard it, I just sat back and thought, wow, what hope do any of us have to be perceived as uncringy if this massive, massive, massive project that hundreds, if not thousands of people worked on to create, that had so much funding, so much wide popular acclaim, is being perceived as cringe? What hope do any of us have? And it was kind of actually a permission slip for me to just be like, well, if Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande in the biggest blockbuster musical movie of potentially all time can be seen as cringe, there's nothing preventing me from being perceived that way. And that might be scary as fuck, but also there's nothing I can do to stop it, so let's just do it anyway. Let's do the things that I want to do that I'm scared of being seen as cringy for anyway, which for me was starting this YouTube channel again, posting on Instagram regularly, writing a blog, all things that I really knew deep down that I really wanted to do and I had on my heart to create for so long. But the idea of someone that I knew reading or watching or scrolling and seeing a video and going, ooh, that made me want to stop, and did stop me from even starting for so long. And I just think about all of the pieces of art and all of the people who I really admire, and if they had let the fear of cringe stop them, what a disservice that would have been. We wouldn't have music, we wouldn't have poetry, we wouldn't have movies, we wouldn't have so many works of art, because I think self-expression and art itself is always going to be perceived as cringy for some, because it's not for everyone, because it's not meant to be designed to be liked and appreciated by every single person. And something that I have been thinking about is that yes, people will cringe. People are always going to cringe. It doesn't matter who you are, how successful, how popular, how perfect, air quotes, because obviously that's not really attainable, but it does not matter who you are. There is never going to be a level that you get to where nobody cringes. Someone is always cringing at something. There is always going to be someone who cringes at your self. No matter what you do, someone will cringe. But those people who do are not your people. If we don't create the art, if we don't start the thing because we are worried about those few who will cringe, we are forgetting about the many that will appreciate. We are forgetting about those people who need what we are sharing. We are forgetting about the people who are waiting for us to do the thing. Maybe you starting a new hobby is what it takes for someone else to see you do that and go, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do that too, or I'm gonna do that other thing that I've been scared of doing. I had a comment on one of my recent YouTube videos, which was my first one in a year, and it took a lot for me to post that because I had to overcome this massive fear of cringe. I was like, people are gonna see this. I don't know if I'm ready for this. I was so worried that my friends and people that I knew were gonna watch that video and just be like, who does she think she is and what is she doing? But I posted it, and in the video I was talking about how we just need to start the thing before we're ready. So start whatever it is you want to do before you're ready. Don't wait for the perfect time. And the comment that I received on this video was someone saying, after I watched this, I went and signed up to a ballet class that I have been putting off for years. It took me posting that video, and that person is now doing something that they maybe wouldn't otherwise be doing. You have that influence in all areas of your life. It doesn't have to be someone on the internet. It can be a friend, it could be a family member, it can be someone who just watches you while you're doing your thing out in the world that goes, wow, what is she doing? I want what she's got. And I just think that we so often cater and almost like pander to the people who are the naysayers, are the people who are criticizing us and calling us cringe, more than we pour into the people who are really willing to show up and support us. Cringe is a concept that I think fundamentally should not be recognized because it's so subjective. I'm gonna cringe at something, and that thing that I'm cringing at for someone else is the best, most incredible thing they've ever seen. It's so subjective that there's no way to prevent yourself from being perceived as that way. And often I've noticed myself, and you may have felt this as well, sometimes I've cringed at people who are just daring to do the things that I'm too afraid to do. I will see someone posting on YouTube, I will see someone doing like a dance class, things that I really want to do but scare the absolute crap out of me, and I go, oh my god, why is she posting that? Oh my god, like internally I would never post that on someone's video because like talk about them like that, because it's not who I am. But internally I have a little cringe moment. But that cringe, the source of that cringe is not me seeing them doing that and thinking that's so embarrassing, how bad of them to be doing that, oh my god. It's me going, how do they have the courage to do that? And I can't imagine being courageous enough to do that. Sometimes cringe is people's criticism of our courage to do the things that they themselves are too afraid to do, but deep down really want to. Have you ever cringed at someone who has stood up in a public space and started singing? Have you ever cringed at someone who has read poetry really passionately in a video that you've seen on YouTube, and you just go, why are they so like expressive, or like that's really embarrassing? Maybe deep down there's somewhere in you that really wants to do something like that. Maybe not the exact same thing. Maybe it's not poetry, maybe it's not singing, but there is something in you that you really want to do and you're holding back because you are afraid of people perceiving you in that way. Cringe holds us back from living our most fulfilled, expressed, big, bold lives, and we shrink ourselves in order to prevent from being seen as cringe. But even still, I don't believe that we are ever immune from it. I really don't, because the more we shrink, the more we're going to cringe at ourselves. I know for me, when I was holding back from posting on YouTube, I would have regular moments where I would see people posting and I would be like, fuck, why can't I just do that? And I would almost cringe at myself for being like, you're too scared. And I just think that we all need to re-evaluate our relationship with being cringe and just actually say, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. Cringe is not a death sentence. Cringe is subjective. The people who cringe are not your people, and whatever you're creating and whatever you're doing, if people are cringing, I actually think it's a good thing, because I think it means that we are living so out loud, that people are seeing it. Like if you dim your light, no one can criticize how bright you're shining. But if you are shining bright, there are going to be some people who are like, fucking hell, turn it down. And there are some people who are going to just sit there and bask in it. But no one can criticize you and call you cringe if you're shrinking and dimming your light so much. So for me, cringe is now a sign that I am doing something good. If I'm cringing at myself and someone else is cringing at me, I'm doing something right. I am showing up courageously. I'm showing up out loud. And maybe I'm doing something that is challenging for other people because maybe they wouldn't have the courage to, or maybe I am a little bit scared and I'm deciding to say, fuck it, I'm feeling the fear of doing it anyway. But it just really struck me when I was walking out of the theater from seeing Wicked. It really just shifted my perspective because I had gone from there was like a chapter of my life where I didn't give a crap. I was showing up, I was posting, I was doing my things, I was being so authentically me that I know people in my life cringe. I know that people on the internet were like, what the fuck is she doing? And I didn't care. I had gotten over it. And then over time, that fear started to creep back in. I changed a few things about my business. I noticed myself shrinking. I wasn't being as active. I wasn't sharing as much of myself fully. And after that experience of leaving the theater and hearing someone say, oh my God, how cringy was that? That shifted everything for me because I realized that for so long I had been trying to not be perceived that way. And it was absolutely impossible to achieve that because how could I? I actually want to share a quote from this book, Women Living Deliciously by Florence Given. I've talked about this book before in previous videos. It encompasses exactly what we're talking about. Everything you want is on the other side of cringe. I saw a illustration on Instagram the other day that made me think of this, and it was where you are, where you want to be, and being cool was just this expansive gap in between where that person was and where they wanted to be. And then it had the same exact image, but there was a bridge across the gap connecting where that person was and where they wanted to be. And it was being cringe. It was essentially illustrating that being cool is always going to stand in between where you are now and where you want to be. Wanting to be perceived as cool, likable, or anything like that is going to stand in between where you are now and the person you want to be, the life you want to live. But being cringe and embracing that and deciding to say, screw it and go for it anyway, that is what is going to get you from where you are right now to where you want to be. Everything you want is on the other side of cringe. If you think of the life you want to live, how many things is it going to take to get there that are things that make you cringe? For me, I want to be a full-time creator. I want to create content for YouTube. I want to be a writer. I want to show up on Instagram and share inspiring things there. That is freaking cringy. Like, that is going to take a lot of cringy acts to get there. It's not going to happen by me sitting and thinking about how can I be really cool? Like, how can I show up and just be like so cool and so like nonchalant about it? I am very chalant. I am not going to show up in a way that is like cool. It's just not who I am. So whatever you want is on the other side of cringe. I want you to think about that and think about all the things that it's going to take for you to be who you want to be and have the life you want to live. And are you willing to sacrifice all of those dreams in order to possibly be perceived as cool? Or are you willing to sacrifice the idea of coolness, embrace the cringe, and have the dreams become a reality? I think at the end of the day, you're either sacrificing your dreams in order to be cool, or you're sacrificing being cool in order to embrace the cringe, in order to have the life of your dreams. I know that might sound very like woo and like out there, but I do believe it. And I do believe that we need more people embracing being their cringiest, out loud, boldest selves, because that encourages more of us to do the same thing. And I think that the idea of trying to prevent cringe has caused so many of us to become so cynical, so critical of people who dare to go after their dreams, has caused us to be so negative. And I just think that, especially now in the world, we need more people who are willing to stand up and be cringy and live their fullest, most boldest, most expansive lives. That is what is going to change things for the collective, because we're all going to go, hey, yeah, we don't want to be playing small anymore. We want to do what we really want to do, and say, screw whether people are perceiving that as cringy or weird. Fuck it. I'm going to do it anyway. Think of the creators that you really admire. There are people who cringe at them. Taylor Swift is cringed at infinitely. That woman is selling out stadiums and living her best damn life. If she had stopped creating music, if she had stopped writing the way that she does in order to try to be perceived as cool, in order to stop people from cringing at her lyrics and stop people cringing at like just her as an artist, we would not have the body of work that is Taylor Swift's discography. We can't limit ourselves to prevent this perception. Because one, we can't control what people think of us. We can't control how we're perceived. We can only control how we show up and the intention with which we show up. And I just think of how sad of a world we would live in, how bleak of an existence it would be if every single person let the fear of cringe stop them from creating and stop them from doing what they love. I now have decided, when I see someone that makes me cringe, I look at it and go, what is this telling me? 9 times out of 10, it's because I'm like, wow, they have the courage to do that. They just don't give a crap what people think. And that is so scary. But now I'm admiring them. So it's, instead of me cringing and criticizing, it's me cringing, recognizing why I'm cringing, and then appreciating what that person is doing. Moral of the story, cringe isn't a bad thing. We all need to get over the fear of being cringe-worthy and actually embrace the idea that if people are cringing at us, we're doing the right thing. And if we're cringing at other people, they're doing the right thing and showing us what we could be doing for ourselves. So I hope this has been helpful. I know this was a bit rambly, but I've just been thinking about this for so long. I saw the Wicked movie months and months ago, and I've been thinking about this. I've been writing a blog post for my Substack about this, and I just have been feeling really inspired to just sit and chat about it. And I'm gonna finish that blog post and I'll link it below as well. But I just wanted to share this because I do feel it's so important, and I hope my ramblings have been helpful in some way. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I would love to hear how you found it in the comments. Also, if you like this video, please go ahead and watch my video about not wasting your life. I really think that is something that ties in so beautifully here. I will see you in the next video. I post new videos every week, and I'm just grateful for you for watching, and I'll see you next time.